Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Blake Cory, and welcome to another episode. Got a super special guest with us today, Casey DeMille from Vegas, right?
That is correct. Las Vegas.
Yes, the city that never sleeps. The city that never sleeps. Yeah, man. Well, hey, super pumped to have you with us here today. For all of those who are watching and listening to this episode, introduce yourself. Who are you? Who's Casey? What does Casey do? And why the hell is Casey in Vegas, man?
Yeah, so honestly, my background is hospitality. I studied at Southern Utah University. I got a degree in hospitality management. I loved coming down to Vegas and spending my money on the weekends. Loved everything about it. So, I shifted what I was studying, which was construction management, into hospitality. I was tired of playing in the dirt, wanted to wear a suit and manage people. And, the hotel industry was just such an amazing place. Had an opportunity to work for Caesars Entertainment for a little bit. And that's where I feel like I learned my skill set that was transferable to educating realtors to, online gen platforms. So I was fortunate enough, Steve was looking for somebody and didn't have the skill set of nothing to do with real estate. I bought a couple houses, but that was literally my exposure to real estate. So fortunately, he gave me an opportunity, and I think it's paid off. We have a lot of successful teams at our program. So yeah. So what I do is coach these agents on how to understand these algorithms, these metrics, and continue getting quality leads.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, so for those of you guys who are watching and listening, Casey is one of the coaches that helps real estate teams and team leaders scale their businesses through referral-based lead generation platforms, which we're going to be talking about here in just a moment. But before we go there, true question. All right, if I'm coming to Vegas and I want to stay a weekend with my wife, what would you say is like the hotel I absolutely need to be at, and why?
Caesar's Palace. There's just so much history. It's a beautiful resort. Everything about it, it's always busy. It's always lively. It's exactly what you think of Vegas. I mean, just look at the movies, Hangover.
Yeah, right.
That alone sells itself.
Yeah,
hit up the blackjack tables.
Well, cool, man. Well, hey, awesome. So, most people who come on our show, they don't have necessarily, or they have usually a pretty extensive history in real estate. That's not you. You don't have an extensive history in real estate, but you've been coached to do one thing extremely well. And I always say, I love it because Jim Collins always talks about in his, good to great books and those types of books that he's written, it's okay. All you have to do is focus on one thing, the hedgehog concept. Focus on one thing, become the best in the world at that one thing, and everything else will solve itself. And you and Steve, you guys are the best at what you do. So I want you to talk a little bit about the people who are watching and listening about the new phenomenon that's taking over the real estate industry right now, whether it's, Realtor.com, whether it's Movoto, Zillow has changed. All these big time lead generation companies have gone away from pay to play to now referral-based lead generation. So talk a little bit about that, since you've been working with Steve, what you've seen, because I'm sure when you came in, I'm not even sure the pay to play was there. You might have come in just when it was referral-based, but I know you've talked to enough team leaders across the country about the big difference. So tell everyone, if they're watching this for the very first time, they have no idea what we're talking about right now, explain to people what's going on with the new referral-based lead generation platforms.
Yeah, I think team leaders in general, got sick of paying for zip codes. And so with Realtor.com, they created this amazing program, OpCity, Ready Connect, whatever you want to call it. And Movoto has done a really good job with Ojo Labs. You only pay when you successfully close a lead. And so I think that was the difference maker, is you're only paying when you close that deal. So you can get as many leads as you can. And if you're coached correctly on it, you're going to get great lead flow for these agents. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is you're only paying at the end of closing. And a lot of my team leads, they strictly focus just on referral base. And I'm talking mega teams too across the country that kind of went away from, paying up front for zip codes.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, let me ask you, just out of curiosity, because people ask me this all the time. For those of you who are watching and listening, if you don't know, like I'm a Zillow Flex partner. I'm a partner with Zillow, and we get referral-based lead generation from them. I'm a partner with Realtor.com and OpCity, get referral-based lead generation from them. Same thing with Movoto and Ojo Labs. So we have these coming to our team members. And by the way, I will say on record, I don't know how any team leader doesn't get involved with these organizations inside of these types of platforms where you can scale this over all of your team members. I have over 50 sales agents at the date of this, this show, and all of them are on one of the platforms, if not multiple platforms, where it's creating their phone to be dinging each and every day with buyer and seller opportunities, something that just 3 to 5 years ago didn't exist for outside salespeople on teams, didn't exist for teams. The ability to do that was just so costly, it was impossible. It really was, because of the sheer upfront cost, fixed cost that team leaders had to put forth. But that's changed now. Let me ask you, I get asked this question all the time, and I'll answer it after you, but I'd love to know your take. Why do you think these companies have done that? Why do you think Realtor.com, Zillow, Movoto, these companies that would charge up front for lead generation, where they would take a credit card, swipe it, and collect money and send you leads. Now, if you closed them, great. And if you didn't, you didn't, but they got paid. But now they're going performance-based. They want to send the leads to agents and collect referral fees upon successful closings, which just seems like a whole lot more work for these big-time companies, getting agents involved, watching their metrics, chasing down commission checks. Why do you think they've actually done that and pivoted from fixed costs to referral-based?
I think it kind of comes down to some of the team leads that I've talked to. They weren't converting the leads, and if they did, it was months on out. So I think they were kind of getting sick of paying for the upfront fee, and to where they created a system to where literally if they can convert this lead, we'll continue feeding them. And I think that's the biggest thing why they did. I don't know from the Realtor.com's aspect why they chose to go the referral base, but I can tell you from talking to the team leads, they weren't having success paying for those upfront cost. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But it's great because these leads are hot, they're ready, they have live transfers, they're always talking to a client on the phone, and it just kind of makes sense that you only pay when you convert the lead. It doesn't make sense to work a lead months on end and not get a conversion on it, So I think that's the big difference. So yeah.
It's funny because I've talked to executives, high up executives throughout these companies, and different masterminds, different conference calls, and I've asked them point blank, why make the move? And the common answer, for multiple reasons, but to get down to the nuts and bolts, is it's more profitable for the company. And when they break down their their analytics and their numbers and their algorithms and show you everything, it shows to be more profitable as long as the right leads are going to the right teams at the right time. And we'll get to that here in a moment, because I know you're going to bring that up and talk a little bit about that. But it shows that they're more profitable, number one. And it's funny because I always talk to, team leaders talk to me all the time about this. And I've got a bunch specifically they're like, you're asking for doomsday. You're partaking in the real estate industry dying because big companies like Zillow and Realtor.com and all these that you're getting in bed with right now, they are within the next 2 to 4 years just going to go and steal your agents, as they're already starting a brokerage. They're already a brokerage. Like Zillow said, they'd never be a brokerage, and now they're a brokerage. And now, they say they're not going to take your agent, but they're going to take your agents. And I look at them and go, listen, Zillow, Realtor.com, and Movoto have just become 3 of the largest real estate brokerages in the country. You're just not looking at it from that perspective. These guys generate leads, hand them off to their salespeople close, and they get 35% profit right off the top. Why would they even ever think about going into the opening up brick and mortar, bringing agents on, which increases risk and liability, and then giving them leads to collect an extra 10, 15%? that there's no way. Like they have no risk and liability now. They hand leads off and they collect, big premiums, 30 to 40% premiums on it. Like they figured out that this is the best mousetrap to reduce risk, liability, and cost and increase profitability. And now you see it's just taking over the real estate industry like crazy.
Oh, absolutely. I think you're going to see more and more platforms, come into the space that are referral based. I think once Amazon comes into us, I think they will. It's going to be a game changer. So the faster you can understand how these algorithms and the data science work, the more successful you're going to be in the future, because it's going to be like this and more.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Absolutely. So, well, cool. So, since this is what you do, so you right now are are inside of a company that helps real estate agents, I always say, kind of get side door access to these types of play. If you've ever watched the Netflix special on the USC, the college scandal, like they use that word in there, like side door. And that's not the same here, but as in most people try to go through the application process, or I should say team leaders try to go through the application process now of joining these types of platforms. And right now they're getting shut down across the country because everything is maxed out. Like, hey, we got enough people, we're not taking any more. And your team over there focuses on working with team leaders to get them inside of these platforms and work in connection with them to help coach and develop them for maximum conversion, maximum performance inside of these platforms. So not only are you getting them in, but you're actually coaching them. And so you've got a lot of experience in working with these systems and algorithms. And I know you have to know the common pitfalls that you're seeing in that agents are doing or team leaders that are doing with these referral-based platforms. Talk to us a little bit about the most common pitfalls you're seeing.
Oh, absolutely. I'd say about 95% of the teams that I've talked to, team leads, big teams, they're already on Realtor.com, Opcity, Ojo Labs. And then they ask me, why come to you? Why should I come to you? And you look at their team accounts and they put every single agent on there. And that's their number one pitfall. You hand it out to a few agents, coach them, teach them exactly how to be successful with it. And then you start introducing it to additional agents. So for example, you sent me some great referrals. Those team leads, what they do, they have 3-4 agents, which is perfect. We can sit down with them, educate these agents, guarantee lead flow, teach them the actual metrics, and then they're closing deals within a month and a half, and then they're getting more quality leads. And I think that's what it is like Realtor.com, they went straight to the broker and they put every single agent on, and there's thousands of agents that could be on a team account. You can't guarantee the lead flow that way. You can have 2 or 3 rock stars on the team that are doing everything right, and then the agents below not even clicking the leads, and it becomes kind of detriment to the account because now they're not getting lead flow. They're getting two leads a week, where we scratch that, we take that out, we're saying, give us your best agents. Let's teach them, not necessarily your best agents, but someone that is going to be coachable and trainable to where we can guarantee that lead flow. Like everyone in our program, we guarantee, and this is minimum, 12 to 15 live transfers per month. And most of our top teams are getting 10 to 12 a week with what we're coaching and educating. So I think that's the downfall, is they're not sure which agents to put on. Everyone always thinks, I'm going to put the highest converter that's already got a sphere of referrals coming in, and then they put them on and they don't click the leads. They don't talk to the clients, and then, they're not getting lead flow anymore. So I think that's what it is. So this is a great way to, I think, recruiting tool for any team leads, and also a way to mold your agents and what kind of agent you want them to be. So I think it's a perfect program for someone that's brand new into real estate. They ain't got any bad habits, that where you can really coach them on this.
Yeah, and to your point, it's an amazing recruiting tool. The agents, the team leaders that I work with, I always tell them, lead flow, lead generation is not going to be the issue. I know in your mind you go, I'm afraid of starting a team, or I'm afraid of continuously hiring agents onto my team because I don't have enough high quality leads to provide them. And this is a solution to that. This is one of the solutions to that problem where you can get live transfers of buyers and sellers to those agents on your team. So I'm right there with you, man. Huge opportunity when it comes to recruiting. Now let me ask you, the secret. What is a secret that you're seeing with these platforms that whether people are on it or not, most just don't understand or see that you can share with everybody today?
Yeah, you got to be moving these clients through the pipeline. As soon as you win them, you got to be having second conversations, moving them through the pipeline. They want to see that you're active with these platforms. And that's the thing is you can't teach an agent to be active with that if they're not going to listen to you. So keeping the apps open, always be active. It's kind of like your Facebook post. You post something, you're not getting enough views. There's an algorithm and a data science to that too, which Blake, you know how to do. You do it really well. So I think, absolutely. I think that you just got to be active with the agents. We do best practices every Thursday where we've had new agents that onboarded on Tuesday. They've had 2 days of getting lead flow. They come back. They want to know what to do with a client that is more than 8 months out. How do you keep them? It doesn't make sense to nurture them into CRM systems. And that's another downfall too, is people don't know what to do with leads that are more than 6 to 8 months to where we can educate them and then also release them and then have them come back when they're actually ready to purchase. So I think something like that.
Yeah, and to that point, you do have to know the data science. You have to know the hacks, I would call it, inside the platform. Great example with these platforms. They want to see that you're using the platform to communicate out on. Most agents, when they get the lead, they call it from their cell phone or they call back from their cell phone. The platforms want to see you calling through the app, texting through the app. And just by doing that increases your score and increases the likelihood of receiving more lead flow through these lead generation platforms. And what's funny is for anyone that watching or listening, this isn't just something that's available in California, Florida, and Texas, the 3 biggest states in the country when it comes to realtors. This is available nationwide and in Canada. And that's what most Canadians don't realize. Like, these platforms, not only are they coming to Canada at a very high level, but they're already there. Just most people don't know about them. And hopefully, they're hearing this today. They're getting educated because this is the new way of real estate. And you got 2 choices, folks. Number 1, get with it, get educated, get on these platforms and start becoming the premier team that they want to refer business to and make a lot of money along the way. Or fight it. Continue to fight it, continue to push back, continue to bitch, moan, and complain about these platforms and how they've pivoted and this, that, and the next. And you know what? Probably get washed out of the business here in the next 24 months. Because if you don't get with it and you're not changing and developing yourself, you're just pushing success away from you. And these lead generation, referral-based lead generation platforms are giving teams the ability to absolutely launch their businesses into a whole nother universe. So let me ask you, if someone's watching this right now or listening to this right now and they're like, okay, Casey, cool. Like, I'm gonna get involved in referral-based lead generation sources. If I take the secrets that you've given me and I avoid the pitfalls that you told me to do, what's that ultimate payoff going to look like for me? You're seeing it right now with teams. I know you're already seeing the payoff, and I can preach all day long, but what are you seeing teams, what is this resulting in for teams, man?
More conversions, they're growing their team. I got of course, money. They're saving money, but they're building their teams. I got an amazing team out of Portland that started with 2 agents and by far one of the fastest team I see do it. They've converted 3 deals being on the program in a month and a half. And then now they're up to like 7 and 6 they've converted. And guess what? They have 20 agents on that team and they started with 2. So it's helped them, of course. And they've expanded in the 2 markets now. They expanded into the Seattle and Phoenix with us helping them. And their agents are doing really good.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's given us the ability to expand in other markets nearby, number one. And number two, yeah, I mean, we get closings every single week. We've been able to then take that fixed cost towards marketing and reinvest it into the infrastructure of the business, as well as increasing profitability of the business. Because we're, that 10% or 15% towards the marketing budget that we would spend before, let's call it 15. Now, we're taking 7.5 to 7.5 to 10% to reinvest in staff, hire more staff members, hire, a recruiter, hire key people that are continuously growing the company, and taking that extra 5% and increasing our profitability. And if you think about it, a high performance mega team is maybe doing a 20% profit margin. Maybe, right? And some may get to 22, 23, 24 based on, the SOI business, but you seldomly ever see a team doing more than 250 to 350 transactions a year that's in the 25, 30 range. It's primarily around 20, but for most of the P&Ls I've ever seen, it's actually in the teens, like 12, 13, 14. And if you could just shift that and take that 15% you were spending in marketing, put 10 back into infrastructure, keep 5 for profit, you've now, look at this, you went from 20%, 15 to 20% profit margin, now to 20 to 25% profit margin, and that's a huge chunk of money. Think about that. For every, $1 million in GCI, that's 50 grand extra in profit for the team leader. In addition, I have some teams right now, they've seen this adjustment. They were doing 5 million. Well, what's 5% of 5 million, right? That's 250 grand. So they've seen another $250,000 increase in profitability by incorporating this into their business. It's absolutely massive, huge payoff. And it's an absolute must. Guys, this is changing. The industry is changing, and you're either gonna grow with it or you're gonna die. You can't stay in the middle. There is none of that. Your business is growing or your business is dying, just like you are. You're personally developing yourself or you're getting weaker, because guess what? The pack around you is getting stronger every single day. Every single day. So, all right, any final words or any comments you want to leave all our viewers or listeners with?
No, not at all. I'm excited to work with you, Blake. You've been such a great referring partner, and I know that everyone that's listening, they're going to take your advice, and hopefully they reach out and we can help coach them up and make sure they're successful as well. Yep.
So we're putting all of Casey's details right down below in the comment section. Hey man, I really appreciate you being here with us today. Thanks so much. And thank you all for those who have watched and listened. I hope you guys really enjoyed today. If you did, do me a favor, just take a screenshot of the episode, post it on your Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform you use, and tag me in it. Tell me what you liked. And if you need, I'll make a personal introduction to Casey myself. Guys, make it an amazing day. Thank you, man, for being here. And guys who are listening and watching, go take some action.